in that particular interview of Kanye, Lex went in with a certain, thing that he was hoping to accomplish. And when it wasn't being accomplished, he kept butting heads. The interview blew up. Like they actually kind of, had a falling out during the interview. But what Lex, like Lex, I guess, but Lex is how he spells it. His advice to Kanye, I thought, was good. That stop attacking all Jews. Start attacking name names, individual people.
I agree with that.
I don't know how many Jews are in the world, 15 million, something like that. You can't just say all Jews are this. You know what I mean? Just like if
any more than you can say all white, all black, anybody.
You can say about anybody.
You
legit.
got to get past all that bullshit.
Very legit point, and he said name names, and Kanye kind of got some of that. Now, Kanye seems to have been hurt by certain Jews in Hollywood.
Understand too, though, that Kanye and Lex are friends. So, that changed the dynamic. Well, they were, but yeah, I mean, they still are. I think that Kanye needed somebody to push back on him, and Lex was going to do that, but let's see.
It kind of fell apart. So when were you there when he started talking about the size of his penis? Did you make it to that point?
But in the early part, he was talking about pornography and he mentioned that, but I'm not sure they'll be on it.
Later, quite a bit. He's like, if it's 14, I thought he was. So Kanye sometimes sets things up. He'll set up something that he comes back to. There were a few things, like for example, Kanye saying, history is not to be taught or learned from. Yes, history is mistaught from the people that are victors, but he kept referring back to history. He kept referring back to his own history, both with Kim, his history of Black people being mistreated, his history of, going back where Black people were original Jew, not the Jewish, but they were Jew. And, it was kind of ironic listening to a guy, because he starts off by saying that engineering is all that should be taught in schools. That's one of his original, and that history shouldn't. And I understand history is taught incredibly poorly. So I followed, but overall, without getting into the nuance, I thought he was going to go to the point where he was talking about all his penis size and say, look, Black people are told that we have big penises. That's a compliment, right? And Jewish people are told that they're in charge of Hollywood and everything else. That's a compliment. Can you imagine Black people throwing a fucking tantrum if somebody were making all Black people have big dick jokes? And all I'm saying is that all Jewish people, it's not like you mentioned this before.
No one ever minds those stereotypes that make you look good,
Yeah.
Well, this is a Jewish stereotype. This is the odd part, and I listened to Lex's point on this, is that this really is a stereotype of it's a compliment. Like, you guys have tremendous wealth and power.